Welcome to part 5, more stories in this Albert Hammond interview. When I Need You from Leo Sayer, Whitney Houston's One Moment in Time, and Starship's Nothing Gonna Stop Us Now. You will hear all the stories about these songs on this episode. If you work with someone, let's say Carol Bayer-Sager, and you've worked on When I Need You with her, how does that collaboration work? Do you go in with any predetermined ideas? Did she come in with a predetermined idea? So how did that actually operate when you met?
I've never really written a song with anyone where they've come in with an idea and we've worked on it together. It's always been I've come in with the idea and the melody, and we've worked on it together. So with Carol, what happened was that it was set up for me to work with Carol. I'd just come off a 9-month tour of the world, and I got to New York, and CBS invited me to see Paul McCartney and Wings, Wings Over America, it was called, at Madison Square Garden. And I thought, when I came out of there, I got back to the hotel. I called my wife in LA, and I said, I think I'm going to retire, give up. I just saw the greatest. I don't think I could ever be that. And she said, you're nuts, you're crazy, you're you, he's he, and all these things, and I hadn't seen her still, hadn't seen her for almost a year, And she said to me, you do what you do, everybody else does what they do. And as soon as I hung up the phone, I picked up the guitar. I had tears in my eyes, and I started singing the tune of the chorus of When I Need You, And When I Need You was the title, that was in my mind. So when I got to Carol the next day, she loved the tune. She wanted to change. She wanted her. And then I said, look, this is why I have to keep When I Need You. And I told her the story, and she understood immediately. And that's the beauty of songwriting, that you can be open to, because, you might have had an idea 5 days ago, and then it's not going to fit. Imagine a different lyric to When I Need You. It would never have been a hit.
Is it therapeutic to write a song then?
Of course. It's like meditation, playing the guitar, playing the piano. I suggest that children, as they grow up, learn an instrument that they can actually not, just an instrument they can actually play melodies to, or an instrument they can strum or bang on that they can sing with, because I think it's such a great way to meditate, because you just get lost in music. You're lost in melody, and you're lost in words, and you're lost in music. And it's so great, because you're really not lost. You're just on a journey.
I mean, when you talk about a song like One Moment in Time, because it's for a specific event, was it the emotion of the event that triggered the idea, or did you actually have the idea before then in that case?
Well, in that case, the first words came from John Bettis. What I had in my mind was, if somebody was to sing this to represent America in the Olympics, who would I hear singing? And immediately Elvis came to mind. But Elvis was here. But I still kept his energy was there. And I called John and asked him if he would want to collaborate on this song, because I was called, and I said yes, always thinking they probably called another 100 writers,
I mean, John Bettis is an interesting character in himself, because he worked closely with Richard Carpenter, didn't he, on all those Carpenter's tracks, which were the most beautiful songs as well. How did the composition actually come together for One Moment in Time? Because there's different layers to it, aren't there?
Yeah, I told John, would you like to collaborate with me on a song for the Seoul 1988 Seoul Olympics? And he said, yes. I knew he was an Olympic, you know, that he loves the Olympics. That's why I called him, you know. I could have called Diane Warren, Hal David, I could have many people, but he was just the right person to call, I thought, anyways. You know. And, you know, I was thinking and having dinner. I just called him, and an hour later, you know, I'm having dinner, and he calls and he says, what do you think of these 4 lines? And he says, give me one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be, when all of my dreams are a heartbeat away and the answers are all up to me. And I went, hang on a sec. And I went straight to the piano. I got up off the dinner table. I went straight to the piano, and immediately, I mean, I even didn't have to write the words down. They stayed in my mind, you know. And immediately I played, and I know I was in the key of F, which, I mean, I can only play in the key of C, but I was playing in the key of F. And I sang, give me one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be, when all of my dreams are a heartbeat away and the answers are all up to me. I said, what do you think of that? And he says, did you just do that? And I said, I guess, you know. And he says, that's great, you know. And so the next day we got together and finished the song.
God, you must be the best dinner guest on the planet. To have someone round for dinner. If you've got a piano, if I had a piano, I'd invite you round for dinner, just because I know I'm going to get something special in that evening. You mentioned Diane Warren, and of course that was the Starship track, wasn't it? Nothing's going to stop us now. What was the sort of working relationship with her, and how did that song sort of gel and come about?
Diane and I, we were introduced to each other by a friend of mine and a friend of hers, you know. And her friend and my friend thought, oh, we should put Diane and Albert together. You know? And so they took us to lunch, and, you know, Diane got off the table and said, I don't think I want to write with you. And that was it. And then a week later, we got in touch, and she'd had a hit by then. She'd had a hit with Rhythm of the Night. Yeah. And so a week later, we got together, and we were sitting at home in my house, and I was with Warner Brothers. They called and said, there's a script on the way. They want you to write a song for this movie called Mannequin, you know. So I told Diane, oh, there's a script on the way. So, you know, let's do whatever. But when it gets here, we should read it. Maybe we can write a song, you know, because that's what they want, you know. So we read the script, and we loved it. The mannequin and the main artist got married in the end, you know. I was going to get married 2 weeks after. This was 1987, something like that, of which I did, because I got married in 87. Anyways, we just wrote the song right there, you know. And I said to her, let's write a song, because I'm getting married and I'll use it at my wedding.
And so you did?
And we did, yeah. And I did. I used it at my wedding, yeah. The demo, not the master, the demo. You know.
Now, when you write these songs and you've got the demos ready and they go out, I presume you don't have a choice who's going to buy them and who's going to record them necessarily, do you? I shouldn't think so.
I didn't know Whitney Houston was going to record that song. I thought it would be a guy, because I was thinking of Elvis.
So when you heard it, what was your reaction? Because that's, you know, it's
Starship?
such a tremendous... No, from the Whitney Houston one, I would say.
Oh, gosh. I tell you, honestly and truthfully, I cried and I cried, and to the point where after I played it like 5 times, I went out and I banged on all my neighbors, you know, and I asked them, would you please come? I want you to listen to something. And they all came, all of them, the husband, the wife, the kids, and to my house, and I played this Whitney Houston track of One Moment in Time that Clive Davis sent me. And it was just unbelievable. I mean, they just went bananas, they went crazy, So immediately, a song that I thought was written for a man was sung by a woman, and it worked, It worked maybe even better than if it would have been sung by a man, And obviously, Whitney was, I mean, the voice of the 20th century, I would say.
And that's part 5. Well, there's still more to come. The last part 6, where Albert Hammond talks about writing for Tina Turner, working with Johnny Cash, and the dangers of artificial intelligence.